will be great.
So I'm going to give a general class about Krishna Bhakti, what I have studied in the past few months. I want to, of course, the audience is also here. So my question to you now, I'm going to start with a question. My question to you now, you see that all the avatars are coming, right? Ram avatar, Nrsimha avatar, then Vaman avatar. All the avatars, who's taking avatar?
Who's taking avatar?
Who's taking avatar?
Like who is?
There are different forms coming to the material world, to the down. Avatar means one who descends, one who comes down. So who comes down? Who is taking that form, those different forms?
Krishna.
Krishna, okay. आप लोग, you can say something. Who is taking avatar?
Vishnu.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also an avatar.
Vishnu ji take avatar.
Vishnu avatar, right? Dasha avatar is coming from Vishnu.
Yes.
So I'm going to tell you a story from where you'll understand who is actually taking avatar.
Actually, Krishna is taking all the avatars.
Krishna took an avatar. Vishnu ji came as Krishna.
Okay. How do we know that Krishna is taking avatar? There has to be some kind of evidence. Not whimsically we say Krishna is taking avatar. We have to know. How do we know? Where do you get the information that actually Krishna is taking avatar?
Because Krishna said so in Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying that.
Yes.
He does not say that all the avatars coming from him. He's the source of everything. That's he says. Both material.
Yeah, that's what she said. Yada yada dharmasya hani varvati bharata. Where he says that whenever it happens, I descend.
Yeah.
He does not say Vishnu descends. He does not say somebody
Vishnu,
else descends. He says I descend.
One way is non-different.
So I is Krishna.
Yeah. So even Brahma was confused. Brahma did not know that Krishna is the supreme. This is prior to Krishna avatar. Before Krishna came to this material world, after Ram avatar, after Treta Yuga. So when from the Krishna book that when the whole earth was perturbed by unnecessary demoniac forces, the whole earth was actually getting disturbed, and the Bhumi is considered the predominating deity of this earth. She took the form of a cow, grieving before Lord Brahma. Please protect me. All these demoniac forces have come on taken birth on my planet, and they are creating so many disturbances by creating so many unnecessary defense forces, fighting and creating and throwing all kinds of bombs. So she became Brahma also did not know what to do. So he said, okay, we'll go to Lord Vishnu. He took all, including Lord Shiva and all the devatas, to Samudra, the Vaikuntha planet on this earth. There they pleaded before Lord Vishnu. We know from up to this part, we know from Krishna book, from Bhagavatam Dasam Skanda, 10th canto. But there's more to it. It is described by Gargamuni. Gargamuni is the family priest of Yaduvansha. Gargamuni, Garga Acharya, he was a family priest. He is not only a family priest, but he was also a great astrologer and poet. Just like Vyasadeva was also a poet. He recorded all the history of this whole universe, important part of the history, in poetic forms, shlokas. Do you think Krishna was speaking in shlokas before Arjuna?
Yes.
No. He was just like I'm talking to you, he's talking. But Vyasadeva composed those instructions in a poetic form without deviating from the knowledge, without adding to it, as it is. Lord Krishna, even like Arjuna was praising Lord Krishna, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram. He was saying that in a shloka form? No, he was praying, talking to Krishna like that, in a prose form. because we have not heard Sanskrit being spoken in prose form, we think that everything in Sanskrit is a shloka. It's not like that. There's a whole in a radio station in Delhi, they have a whole Sanskrit discussions. Two different they're teaching Sanskrit and they're talking in prose form. How this prose form sounds like. আমরা যেরকম কথা বলছি বাংলায় আমরা কি সবসময় কি Gita means song that can be sung. Bhagavad Gita means song of God. ভগবানের গান হ্যাঁ কিন্তু it is a shloka form. এটা গাইতে পারে শ্লোকগুলো গান গাই because it has a particular meter. It can be calculated with mridanga beats and all that. So that is possible. That is done in Gita form. Any kind of Gita. Garga Muni was also a poet. Great, just like Vyasadeva was also a poet. Vyasadeva wrote Bhagavatam by the instruction of Narada Muni. And Garga Muni also wrote Garga Samhita by the instruction of Narada Muni. Vyasadeva established Krishna as the Supreme Lord, going through from the beginning of all the avatars, and at the end, in the 10th canto, he establishes Krishna as the Supreme Lord. But Garga Samhita is everything spoken about Krishna, nothing else. Bhagavatam consists of 18,000 verses. Out of that, the 10th canto consists of 4,000 verses. In the Garga Samhita, the entire Krishna Leela is composed of 12,000 verses. So how much details activities are mentioned in that book? Vyasadeva established Krishna as a supreme. But Garga Samhita is meant for those people who already accept Krishna as a supreme. Yeah, Krishna, yes.
I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I understand correctly. Vyasadeva is also an incarnation of the Lord, right?
The Shaktivesha incarnation means empowered person. Empowered means a living entity given the power to establish certain reason. That's the Shaktivesha. There's different kinds of avatars. So our Shaktivesha avatar means one personality who is given the power to do. Even like Guru is considered a Shaktivesha avatar, representative, given the power to do something. Yeah, no problem. This is interactive. I don't mind questions in the beginning. But if you have any questions, you raise your hand.
Prabhu, would you explain what she asked? I couldn't hear well.
What is that?
What she asked. Could you explain?
She asked that if Vyasadeva is also an incarnation. And I said yes, but it's a different kind of incarnation. It is called Shaktivesh Avatar. Shaktivesh Avatar means, Avesh Avatar means Krishna is acting through him.
Yes.
Not directly. Avesha Avatar means through, just like a Guru is also considered a Shaktivesh Avatar. Krishna, an empowered living entity who is given the power to act on behalf of the Supreme Lord. That is the thing. So that's the meaning of Shaktivesh Avatar. Vyasadeva is also a very powerful Shaktivesh Avatar because when he was born, immediately he grew up to be a youth. How many people do that? From childhood to youth, it takes some time, right?
Yes,
6 years at least. But Vyasadeva was born at the shore of a river by Parashara Muni and Satyavati. You know that story, right? That part.
Yes,
I'm not going to go into detail about that because what I want to establish is different. So Garga, I just wanted to tell you that the Garga Samhita is a very, very authentic book written by Garga Muni by the order of Narada Muni.
I see.
So in that book, the Krishna's activities are given in much more in details. So when Brahma went to Lord Vishnu to ask for help for the Earth planet because we're going through so much disturbances, the Vishnu said, well, I cannot make the decision. I have to ask Krishna. The Brahma was confused. He said, I thought, is there someone more than you? Is there someone? We thought you are the only one. No one is beyond you. And he said, when Vishnu is saying, I have to ask Krishna. Then Brahma was confused that I have to ask, is there someone more than you? Then let me see him first. And when Vishnu took him to, there's a whole passage how he went, because the whole covering of Brahmanda is covered by 7 layers of Ashtadhatu, 8 layers of Ashtadhatu: earth, water, fire, ether, and air, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Each layer is 10 times thicker than the other one. Starting from earth, they go over beyond that. How to cross? They went through the hole through which Vaman Dev created a hole in the planet and the Brahmanda, in the universe, through which the spiritual water came down and known as Ganga is coming down. That hole is there in this universe. This one hole created by Vaman Dev. That water is coming. Huh? So all the demigods, and including Lord Shiva and Brahma, they went through that hole, including Lord Vishnu. He was guiding them. They took it up and they went on. They saw all the little balls floating in the water here and there. They didn't know what it was, and their own universe looked like one of those balls, the small bubbles. Yeah. So they were confused. They never saw that. It's just like a frog in a well who never went outside the well and doesn't know the world beyond the well. Similarly, all the demigods did not know anything beyond this universe because they never went outside. For the first time they were going and they were confused by the whole thing. Then they crossed the Viraja river. There's a whole beautiful, like white silken cloth river. River is looking like white silken cloth. There's Viraja river. That river divides between the material world and the spiritual world. It divides between. So they went across. There was, of course, the whole description was given about how beautiful the Viraja river was. They went beyond that, and they saw 1,000 hooded snakes, Anantashesh. Beautiful, effulgent, like millions and millions of sun. And they were blinded by that. But by the mercy of Lord Vishnu, they could see Anantashesh. And they worshipped him. They recognized his Anantashesh because he's also an expansion of Krishna, but he's not Krishna, expansion. He's equal to Krishna, at the same time not equal to Krishna. Within the lap of that universe, of Anantashesh, was a beautiful lotus-like planet. And Vishnu decided that's Golok. And every planet has a security guard. In Vaikuntha planet, you have security guard, right? Jaya, Vijaya, all the Vishnu Dutas, they are security guards. But in that planet, you know who the security guards were? The gopis. The gopis were the ladies. And what they had weapon? Stick. They had a stick. So all the Brahma, all the Devatas and all that, they went there and also pleaded that we want to see Krishna. Then one of the senior gopi over there, the senior security guard, she asked, I have to tell Krishna, where are you coming from? Who are you and where are you coming from? So Brahma said that we are the caretakers, we are Devatas from Brahmanda. And we come from here. Then the lady said, which Brahmanda? And then again they were confused. Is there more Brahmanda than us? Didn't you see when you were coming over here? It seems like you are coming out of your place for the first time. You know, you don't know, you don't have your own identity. You don't know what your address is. You don't know where your name is. You just say Brahma. There's so many Brahmas. Brahma is a post. Just like someone says, I'm a president. President of what?
That's right.
You have to know who Brahman, which I'm a president of a country. Which country?
Exactly.
So Brahma said, I'm a Brahma of a Brahman. Which Brahman? You have to tell me which Brahman. And all the demigods were totally ashamed. Their knowledge was very limited. They didn't even, they said, it seems like your first time you're coming out of your Brahman and that's why you don't know. then Vishnu was standing right next to them. So he knew it. And he told the gopi, well, we are coming from the Brahman, but Lord Trivikram was another name of Vamandev. But Lord Trivikram made a hole in the Brahman. We are coming from that Brahman. That's how they identified and separate from other Brahmans, where there's a hole created in the Brahman. Then the gopis said, okay, you must say so. Then she guided her. In that, there was a whole central lotus with 1,000 petals. You can imagine how big. This is not something poetic, imaginary, something. It is there. This description is there. Sometimes the poets imagine like that. They create names like that. The 1,000 petals. We cannot imagine a lotus with having 1,000 petals. A huge petal. And within that 1,000 petals, there were another set of lotus with 1,600 petals. And within that petal, there was another set of petal with 100 petals, 108 petals. Within that, there was another set of petals with 8 petals. In the center of that, there was a nice golden, with all kinds of jewelries, Singhasan, where Lord Krishna, Radha and Krishna were sitting. And all the gopis were doing chamara. This whole description is given there. And the devatas were completely confused, and they were amazed to see the Golok. They never imagined, because first of all, they never went out of their own planet. So it's just like frog who never went out of his well and doesn't know what ocean is. So similarly, so they are seeing this and they were confused, the whole thing. And there's more confused things happened then after that. Lord Krishna wanted to convince them that he's the Supreme Lord. What happened? At that time, brilliantly effulgent form of Lord Vishnu with 8 arms, Narayan, appeared there and merged in the body of Krishna. Then Narayan, Vishnu, who was standing next to him, he also merged in the body of Krishna. Then Kala, the time personified, and you say in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna saying Virat Roop, right? That's Krishna's Kala Roop, the time form. That form appeared. That also came and merged with in the body of Krishna. Nrsimhadev appeared over there. A huge body, half man, half lion. He appeared. He also merged in the body of Krishna. Then Lord Ramchandra, along with all Sita Devi, his brothers, and all the monkeys seated in a chariot with 1,100,000 wheels. You can imagine how big the chariot is going to be, as big as a town. 1,000 wheels driven by 100,000 wheels driven by 100,000 horses. They brilliantly functioned. The entire thing with Ram and Krishna and Sita Devi merged in the body of Krishna. Slowly, slowly, they showed all the Dharma and his wife and all the different incarnations came one by one and merging in the body of Krishna. This way, Krishna wanted to show them that he's the source of all the avatars.
Yes.
So when you worship Krishna, you're automatically worshipping all of them.
I see.
See, when we actually are followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they're different Vaishnavas, right? Different forms, levels of Vaishnavas. Some worshipping Lakshmi Narayan, some worshipping Lord Ram, Sita Ram, and so on. So we are the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We worship Krishna as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu worshipped Krishna, right?
Yes.
So in the entire lifespan of Krishna, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you don't see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu worshipping any avatars.
Right.
Even in Vrindavan, when Krishna was there, all the demons were attacking the Gwalbaus. They were not taking only Shingadev. No. They were only taking shelter of Krishna. If Krishna is there, he will protect us. No problem. They have become fearless. They were completely dependent on Krishna only. So Krishna demands, if you want to understand Krishna completely, there should be undivided
Attention.
devotional service, not divided between the different avatars. That creates confusion. It is easy for Christian people to accept one Supreme Lord because it's part of their culture, one God. But we coming from Vedic India, we have 330 million demigods, devatas, Durga, Shiva, and Kali, and all of it. And then for Lakshmi, if you want wealth, you go to Lakshmi. If you want knowledge, you will go to Saraswati. If you want any kind of husband, you go to Lord Shiva. If you want a good wife, you go to Lord Parvati. Any kind of Shakti, you will go to Parvati. So all these kind of things are divided departments. But if you water the root, all the plants, the trees, the leaves, the flowers, the seeds, everything gets nourished. And the root is Krishna, and that Krishna wanted to establish before all the demigods. Now, Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared 500 years ago. Before Krishna appeared, everybody worshipped Lord Ramchandra, Narayan most of the time. Their idea of Supreme Lord is like that. They were perfect person. Lord Ramchandra was a perfect son, obedient son, perfect husband, perfect brother, perfect father, and perfect king. Everybody wants Ram Rajya because he was a perfect king. So when people thought about the Supreme Lord, he is all perfect. But when he came as Krishna, he's stealing butter. He's stealing the garments of the gopis. He's breaking the parts of the gopis. He's being naughty. And not only that, when he's going out with the picnic, with all the Brahma, with all the qualified, all these cowherd boys, sorry. He was having picnic. From his own part, he's feeding with his hand his cowherd friend. And then from his mouth, he's taken eating again. That created confusion. How the Supreme Lord is being so dirty. He's eating from the mouth of the cow, he's taking the food and then putting it in mouth. That shows the intimacy. But Brahma, he got confused. He says, this Supreme Lord? This Krishna is the source of everything? He's eating, he's so dirty, he's eating from the mouth of his friends. And then we know that when we worship Krishna and Vishnu, it has to be perfectly clean. That's why we perform the yajna today. It has to be cleaned, everything, and go and rules and regulations, everything like that, with proper mantras. And this person, this Supreme Lord, is creating confusion. So to explain Krishna Leela, explain the supremacy of Krishna, he came again 4,500 years later. Within 5,000 years, he came again as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach, to actually explain Krishna Leela. So that's why I wanted you to, of course, when Krishna comes along with his Leelas with his devotees, there's also killing of demons and killing of simultaneously goes on. But from Srimad Bhagavatam, we understand that Krishna does not particularly take part in killing. He simply takes part in enjoying. He doesn't like to kill because everybody is his son. But that department is the duty of the Vishnu portion of Krishna. So the killing act of it for justice department, what do you call it? The justice department is a department of Vishnu. It's one expansion of Krishna, because when Krishna came, all the avatars, all his different parts came with him. So the killing was done by the Vishnu portion of Krishna, not particularly Krishna. Krishna particularly himself doesn't take part in killing.
True.
So similarly, as devotees, when we look for protection, we are not so convinced So we take shelter of Nishingadev for protection, because Krishna particularly does not take part in killing or the miscreants. So Nishingadev creates a fear among the non-devotees to protect the devotees. That's why Srila Prabhupada established after Arati, we sing Nrsimha prayer also.
Yes, yes, yes.
So that for protection. So because Krishna particularly doesn't take part in killing. He's only having loving relationship with his devotees. So, but for protection, we need killing also. Because in the spiritual world, there are all kinds of living entities that have to be, miscreants have to be, devotees have to be protected. The
Correct.
sadhus have to be protected from the miscreants. And the miscreants,
Yes.
the way to protect is by killing them. Or showing creating some kind of fear in them.
Yes.
So that's how Nishingadev, we take shelter of Nishingadev. But in our actual mood, as we advance in Krishna consciousness, we should only take shelter of Krishna and no one else. Because within Krishna, everybody else is there. We should be fully convinced, and then we can understand Krishna completely. Krishna can be understood by undivided devotional service only. Mam ekam sharanam braja. Right? Ekam. Me only. No one else.
But we were taught all the demigods. So what do we do with them?
What is that?
I mean, we are taught from the childhood to
Yeah.
preach the demigods.
Yeah, that's the culture of India. The Devatas and Devis, we worship them from the childhood. Because we were ignorant. So we followed. Now we know. Now we know
Sure.
that you can worship demigods. Devatas also, Devis, you can worship. They are superiors. They are our superiors. Not that they should be. But intelligent person, what he does, he doesn't water the plant leaves. He waters the roots.
Roots, yes, I see.
When you water the root, automatically you're worshipping everybody.
Sure. Okay.
You don't give food even individually to hand and ears and eyes. You give food to the stomach,
Yes.
and then stomach distributes to the whole body, right? So the intelligent person, what he does, he wants to worship everybody, and by worshiping one person. That's a shortcut,
Yes.
right? Why take the elaborate worship? Simply doing shortcut, one person, everybody else is satisfied. We know that from Mahabharata. You know, the Draupadi gave Krishna 1 grain of rice. And Krishna was satisfied with 1 grain of rice, and the whole universe felt full. Nobody was hungry anymore at that time. Even the Durvasa Rishi, which is 10,000 disciples, felt that they are full. They cannot go to Yudhishthira Maharaj to eat again. They escaped from there. They left. You know the story of that part, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
So Krishna, when you satisfy Krishna, everybody else gets satisfied.
Satisfied.
Right, Meera ji?
मैं हमेशा कंफ्यूज रहती हूँ, you know. That's my nature.
वही आपको मुंह देखकर हमको लग रहा था कि आप कंफ्यूज हैं.
Well, that's the way we were taught from the
बचपन से
childhood.
इतनी कुछ सिखाया गया दिमाग में, उसको निकालना is very difficult.
आपको जन्म से माता जी की पूजा करने की आदत है ना, जागरण करते हैं,
जागरण, और फिर ऐसे सिखाया कि जो
नवरात्रि करते हैं.
कृष्ण इज अ हायर गॉड, और जैसे हनुमान जी हैं, गणेश जी, माता रानी, वे जल्दी प्रसन्न हो जाते हैं, you know, and they
सुनिए,
give you
आप
food, you know, all that.
अपने घर में कोई पौधा है, पेड़ है,
हाँ जी.
तो आप जल कहाँ पर देती हैं?
पानी रूट में
देती है ना. आपके अलग अलग पत्ते में पानी डालती हैं?
वो भी डालते हैं और रूट में भी ज्यादा देते हैं.
अलग अलग पत्ते में डालने की जरूरत नहीं है,
ताकि पत्ते गिल्ले हो जाए.
डालती हैं तो सभी पत्ते, हर पत्ते दाल सब हरे पौधे होते हैं, फूल भी खिलाते हैं, है ना. उनमें से अलग अलग देने की जरूरत नहीं है.
बहुत मुश्किल है ना, बचपन से जब जो इतने साल से दिमाग में पड़ा हुआ है ना, उसको निकालना बहुत मुश्किल होता है, you know.
हाँ संदीप ওনার মাতাজি কি নাম?
মনিকা মাতাজি।
হ্যাঁ
মনিকা মাতাজি।
মনিকা মাতাজি আপনার কোনো প্রশ্ন আছে?
না,
না,
প্রশ্ন নেই। মীরা মাতাজি যেটা বলছেন তার একটা সলিউশনের পথ আমি বলতে পারি।
হ্যাঁ বলুন।
আমি তো রামকৃষ্ণ মিশনের, কিন্তু অ্যাকচুয়াল তো সবই কৃষ্ণ। তো এক সময় আমি ডোর টু ডোর ঘুরে বেড়াই, আমার ভগবান ভালো, ঈশ্বর ভালো লাগে, তো ডোর টু ডোর ঘুরে বেড়াই। একদিন প্রশ্ন করেছিলাম একজনকে যে আমি এরম মিশনের থাকি অথচ এই মন্দিরে যাই ওই মন্দিরে যাই। তো আমাকে মহারাজ শেখালেন যে বা শ্বশুর বাড়িতে শ্বশুর শাশুড়ি দেওর ভাসুর সবাই থাকে, ভালোবাসো কাকে? সবচেয়ে ভালোবাসো কাকে? বললো স্বামীকে। বললো ঠিক সেই রকম। তো আপনি মীরা মাতাজি গণেশজির কাছে যান, মাতার কি জাগরণ করেন, মানে আমি নিজেকে এইভাবে তৈরি করেছি, সেটা জাস্ট শেয়ার করছি। যে মাতা রানীর কাছে যান, গণেশজিকে প্রে করুন যে গণেশজি আমাকে কৃষ্ণ ভক্তি দাও। রাধা মাতাজিকে, মা দুর্গাকেই বলুন যে আমাকে শুদ্ধ ভক্তি কৃষ্ণের প্রতি দাও। এই ওয়েতে ধীরে 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 আপনার মাইন্ডটাকে কন্ট্রোল করতে হবে, মাইন্ডটাকে নিয়ে যেতে হবে কৃষ্ণের দিকে। তাহলে আপনি বুঝতে পারবেন কৃষ্ণের মহিমাটা কত বড়, এবং সে আপনাকে কত ভাবে কিভাবে প্রোটেক্ট করে রেখেছে সেটা আপনি রিয়েলাইজ করতে পারবেন না এখন, না পরে, যখন আপনার টাইম আসবে আপনি সেই সময় রিয়েলাইজ করতেন। প্রতিটি কাজের পিছনে কৃষ্ণের এক বিশাল, ওই যে প্রভুপাদের লেকচার বলছে কি একটা বিজনেস আছে যার জন্য তুমি আমাকে এখানে নিয়ে এসে ফেলেছো, তার মাস্টার প্ল্যান, তার একটা বিরাট বড় প্ল্যান আছে। তো যাই কিছু করুন না কেন ওর কাছে, সবার কাছে প্রার্থনা করে আমাকে কৃষ্ণের ভক্তি করো, রাধা রানীর ময় করে দাও। এটা আমার সিম্পল, আমার মনে হয় যেটুকু আমি সেইটুকু বললাম।
मीरा माता जी आपको समझ में आया क्या बोली?
थोड़ा थोड़ा समझ आया, मतलब पूरा नहीं।
वो बोल रही है कि जिसके
कृष्ण
भी आप पूजा करो सबके साथ यही प्रार्थना करो कि हमको कृष्ण भक्ति दे।
कृष्ण भक्ति दे।
तो आपका माइंड जो है ना उसी तरफ जाएगी, आपको ध्यान भी उधर ही जाएगी। तब आप जितना भागोगी, आपका माइंड जितना चंचल हो जाएगी, आपका दिमाग भी ऐसे ही चलेगा।
आप बंगाल से हैं तो वहाँ काली माता को बहुत मानते हैं, तो आप नहीं मानते?
मैं भी
आप
मानती हूँ,
वो भी नहीं मानते?
मैं मानती हूँ सबको, लेकिन अल्टीमेट गोल उसका, उसी का अल्टीमेट गोल आपका कृष्ण ही है। तो माता रानी को बोलो, माता रानी मेरे को वो मन दो जो मैं कृष्ण को प्रे कर सकती हूँ, कृष्ण जो महिमा है उसको मैं समझू। आप नहीं प्रे कर सकते हो, वो आपको कृपा करे तभी आप प्रे कर सकते हो।
कृष्ण भगवान जी ज्ञान देते हैं, लाइक गीता का ज्ञान,
सब कुछ देती है, आप जो मांगो वही देती है। ये मेरे को ध्यान है, मैं बहुत छोटा है।
अभी यहाँ पर अगला प्रोग्राम शुरू हो रहा है। ये टॉपिक ऐसा है कि कभी नहीं होने वाला टॉपिक है। This topic will never end. Go on and on and on, but we have to go with the time. I think.
नहीं, आपकी एक्सप्लेनेशन बहुत अच्छी थी, अच्छी है कि आपने बताया कि सभी शक्तियां भगवान कृष्ण जी के पास आ गई, उनके अंदर है सब कुछ, सारे देवता देवी। तो दैट गिव्स गुड आंसर, मतलब इन सम वे। तो फिर लगता है कि सभी कृष्ण जी की पूजा करो तो सभी की होगी, you know. So
I see there are some non-Bengalis also. Did you understand what we were talking about, Kailash ji? Priyanka?
Yes, I understood, sir.
Okay. अब अनम्यूट करे, बात समझ में नहीं आ रहा है।
प्रियंका जी
नहीं
कैलाश
कैलाश जी अनम्यूट करिए।
अनम्यूट करो। Okay, now it's okay.
Truth is one, paths are many. Truth is one, paths are many.
Okay. Let's we're going to see the Aarti now. Blow the conch.
Yes.
Your final concluding.
The final conclusion is Ekla ईश्वर कृष्ण और सब भृत. मतलब क्या है कि कृष्ण एकमात्र ईश्वर हैं, बाकी सब उनके अंश हैं और उनके सेवक हैं.
Agree.
हरे कृष्ण.
Right.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you all so much for participating. And we would like to thank His Grace Makhanchor Prabhu for giving us such an engaging and interactive class. We all very much enjoyed it. And we all request him to please join us again and again so we can learn from him, hear from him, and we can get these kind of classes more and more.